Alright everyone, welcome back once again to this Beefcast presentation. I'm your casting host, Beef. As usual, bringing you some awesome StarCraft 2 action. These are going to be some replay casts today coming out of the ASUS ROG. A good invitational that did go down a couple of weekends ago. Absolutely awesome tournament from what I've heard. I'm excited to cast some of these group stage games. Bringing you the first one here on Cloud Kingdom. This is a best of 3 between this Terran and Zerg. In the top right, the red Terran playing for Evil Geniuses. He is ThorZaiN. And his opponent in the bottom playing for Team Liquid, representing that little hap factory. He is Liquid Red. So going into this here on Cloud Kingdom, it'll be very interesting to see what approach we really have coming out of both of these players. There's been a definite shift up in the metagame a little bit recently with these two races. So getting into that, there's been a lot of people playing a lot more mech. The Terran player definitely favoring that style, a little bit more immobile, but definitely harder hitting, able to put on some really strong mid-game pressure with that, but it can definitely be a little bit harder in the late game as well. So we'll see if ThorZaiN ends up going for that very gas-heavy strategy, and if we do see that in this game. On the other side, Rhett, one of the players in the world most known for his macro. Really very unlikely that he's going to be cheesing, doing anything like an early Baneling bust or an early pull, especially not an early pull as we do see the hatchery going down here. But he just prides himself on hitting perfect injects, making so many drones. You might have heard that maybe once or twice, that he might be something like, no, not the Prince of Drones, the Emperor of Drones? No, it's the King of Drones, that's right. Rhett definitely likes to make those drones, and it's even one of his follies sometimes that he might make a few too many drones. We'll see if that does happen and how he chooses to allocate his gas throughout this game, whether he's going to be getting that super early Baneling speed, going up to 3 base, whether he's going to be going into mass queens, anything like that. We'll have to see. Only time will tell. Right now, ThorZaiN looking like he's going to go with the traditional 1 Rax expand right now. The refinery, number 1 coming up, number 2 going to join as well. So it looks like it's probably going to be going into a reactor Hellion build after this, and then we'll see if he does end up following that up with some cloaked Banshees, as would be something like the MVP build that's come into popularity in the last couple of months. Rhett's natural expansion finishing up right now as those drones do make their way down to mine. The first 2 queens on the way after that spawning pool did come down as well. So Rhett's going to get those out nice and early, get that larva count up, and more importantly, start his creep spread very quickly. A map like Cloud Kingdom, you want to get that creep out as soon as possible to connect your natural all the way down over here to your third. If you're not able to do that, then especially with those fast-moving units like the Hellions that are going to be coming out here in about a minute and a half, you're not going to be able to adequately defend with just those queens. You're going to need something like roaches to really get in there. But if you've got that queen, or those queens and the creep spread, then you're going to be just fine. Right now, Rhett just continuing to go ahead and macro up back at home. We take a look at the drone count, only at 24 right now, so he's definitely invested a little bit into those Lings. We see Lings making their way over to check for this third. They're going to be taking these Xel'Naga watchtowers, making sure that Rhett has all the map control that he should have to be able to defend against any super early aggression. As soon as the factory finishes up there, we do have a starport coming down and a tech lab being built right next to it, so this is definitely going to be Banshees, most likely going to be the cloak variety with that double gas, but there's always a possibility that we could see ThorZaiN go for the non-cloak variety. Third base coming down now for Rhett, so definitely going to be going for that very macro style, and I like this right here. Going for double gas at his natural instead of his main, this is going to deny scouting information to ThorZaiN. ThorZaiN's never going to be able to get up here with Marines. Maybe Hellions might be able to get a run by into the main, might scout it out with a scan or a Banshee, but as long as he's just seeing these ones down here, he's not going to know if there are 4 gases in total or if there's just 2. So denying some scouting information, I like that a lot from Rhett. First 2 Hellions making their way down. They are going to go ahead and spot that third right there. And Queen's going to try to get in position to intercept. A total of 3 Queens now making their way over. And Zergling's going to do a decent job of forcing these Hellions back, and a little bit of miscontrol there from ThorZaiN. I would have liked to have seen him just go ahead and walk up the ramp there. He had the possibilities with those Hellions, but more so just very good control from Rhett. One Hellion does escape at only 4 HP. So sad to see that one get out of there alive. But both these players just continue to macro up from here. We do have the Banshee working on Cloak now. First one making its way across the map. Going to meet up with the Hellions out there and see what kind of damage can get done. Total of 4 Queens on the map right now, and they're all out spreading creep. The next Queens are in production over here at both of these hatcheries, so they're going to be at home to get those injects eventually. But right now, just looking like they want to spread creep. One off of creep over here might be a little bit vulnerable to some Hellions if they do choose to make those their target. But right now, we have the Banshee actually making its way into the third over here, going to be repelled momentarily by these Queens. Say, hell no, get the heck away from my hatchery, get away from my drones, not on my watch. And that Banshee will retreat. Cloak was not shown there, I don't believe. Yeah, not being shown just yet, and speed kicking in right there. A couple of these Hellions going to be picked off, so good job by Rhett, able to get those down. The Banshee comes in, wants to be able to join the fray as well, raining down terror onto those Zerglings from high in the sky. Second Banshee going to make its way out to join its sister, and Cloak finally revealed right there. No Spore Crawlers on the ground just yet in that position, but as that one Spore Crawler does give vision, yeah, a little bit unfortunate there for ThorZaiN, losing that Banshee just to a little bit of an overextension. He wanted to poke around, maybe get a little bit greedy, but not going to happen with that Spore Crawler in the mineral line. Scan going down now from ThorZaiN to try to eliminate some of these creep tumors. Just try to clear out this creep spread a little bit more. Zerglings across the map trying to go for a little bit of a counterattack. See if they can catch ThorZaiN with his pants down, which those supply depots are definitely down. A couple of SCVs going to take some damage here, and even more importantly, these Lings are going to get into the base and they're going to be able to get some good scouting information. Banshee over here is able to clean this up with the assistance of the Hellions, but if we take a look, 5 workers were killed in that, so not insignificant damage there done by our Zerg player. And like I said, able to get that scouting information. If we actually take a look, he is going to see all of these factories going down, and that's exactly what he needed to know. He's going to know now that it is going to be mech play, double upgrades coming out of those armories, and the choice here from Rhett, the response is a Spire. So the Spire about a third of the way done now. Definitely going to be very interesting to see how Rhett chooses to combat that mech with that Spire. Mutilas definitely do not fare the best against large amounts of Thors, but in small numbers of Thors, the Mutilas can actually do relatively well with Magic Boxing, and of course they exploit the immobility of the mech player. As long as that meching player is restricted to his own base or is very slow to push out, those Mutilas can do a lot of damage. Snipe some Vikings, snipe some tanks, something like that, and of course always the counterattack, the backstab that is going to force that other player to move backward. Always a possibility. Rhett even taking a hidden 4th and 5th right now, so definitely a good job from Rhett trying to keep his macro going at this point. With a 40 supply lead, Rhett all the way up at 80 drones, definitely living up to his name at this point. Infestation Pit now going down, so I haven't seen any use of the Spire just yet. It might have been a little bit early, maybe just trying to get Mutalists out in case those Banshees were going to continue harassing, but at this point, looks like Roaches and Infestors are going to be the tech of choice. 4 Queens going to engage with some Cloaked Banshees and some Hellions right now. The Queens are not going to get the good end of this engagement, that's for sure. The Hellions able to get a good surround and take out 2 out of the 4 Queens before they are forced to retreat. Zerglings and Roaches coming in, and actually a few more Hellions were lost there than needed to be, and even one of the Banshees was sniped by a Queen with the support of the Overseer. And it's looking now like Rhett might be gearing up for an assault. With +1/1 done for his Zerglings and +2 armor and +1 weapons on the way for his Roaches, Red has a relatively strong army and even 8 Corruptors coming out now. Hive only on the way just now, so not going to be able to morph those into Broodlords anytime soon, but those Corruptors going to be very effective at dealing with anything in the sky, talking about Banshees, talking about any Vikings that might already be in the air. But the meching player with all these tanks definitely going to be very, very hard to assault on a map like Cloud Kingdom. Attacking up ramps into chokes, not what you want to be doing, but Roaches are going to be making contact right here. The Hellions doing a nice job of buffering for a few of these tanks. The Corruptor's going to fly across. Immediately the Banshee going to cloak up, does not want to have to deal with that. But a counterattack over here in the third. The Zergling's going to work on these SCVs in the middle line. Terran player forced to retreat for the time being, although 2 Cloaked Banshees have made their way over to the fourth for Rhett. Corruptor's going to have to head on over there to clean that up, but will they be able to before a ton of damage is done? Yeah. The Banshee's not focus firing down properly just yet. Going to lose a Queen, did lose a few drones there, but these Corruptors will take down those Banshees with ease without losing anything too detrimental. But now the meching player moving out across the map. It's a relatively small army right now out of ThorZaiN. Only 74 army supply, so if Rhett's able to get a good engagement here, he might be able to deal with this pretty effectively, but instead going to opt for the counterattack. Not a whole lot of chance of engaging into all these siege tanks with no Broodlords and no Infestors at this point. So Rhett's instead going to say, hey, I'm going to try to just deal with your third, make you lift that off. I don't know where the Corruptors went. They actually retreated back over here to deal with maybe Banshee. It didn't look like there was a Banshee, so I'm not sure why the Corruptors are back already. He could be taking out this orbital command, so definitely a bit of a flub there. And this is given time ThorZaiN. He's able to get in here before the Spine Crawlers were to finish it. He's going to start sieging up on this third. Already the drones all evacuated as these Hellions were coming in trying to get some kills. A total of 9 workers killed there by ThorZaiN with those Banshees and Hellions. But Red simply does not have the army to engage at this point. He's trying to wait for this Greater Spire to finish very soon here, but he's going to lose his third before that happens. And the third does fall right there. Tank's going to go ahead and start leapfrogging back, but this is what Rhett's looking for. He says this is the time to engage. Roach is going to come in. They're able to get very up close and personal with these tanks as all the tanks do fall. Corruptors come in and they're able to clean up the remaining parts of the Terran army, and Rhett needs to counterattack right now. If he gives his opponent too much time to get back up on his feet, he could be in a very bad position down on this base right here. His fourth over here has been started to saturate, and he's even got his base down here as well. So Rhett actually looking at a pretty good position macro-wise. I take that back. Up at 93 drones versus the much smaller economy, down at 56 SCVs. So ThorZaiN definitely a little bit behind right here, down almost 90 supply. And Broodlord's already out on the map. If we take a look at the unit counting station, 8 Broodlords, not a whole lot of Infestors, only 3 Infestors, 2 more going to be joining them very soon. But one of the things that ThorZaiN has going for him is his upgrades. He's at 2-2, 3-3 already on the way, and with this planetary morphing, this could be a very hard position to assault for the Zerg player if that planetary is able to finish. But Rhett says, hell no, I'm going in before that happens. 6 Thors right there are the front line with a couple of siege tanks behind. Roach is going to come in and try to put their damage out, assailing with the back support of the Broodlords. GG, well played, comes out of ThorZaiN, and Rhett takes game 1 in this series with a spectacular defense from the meching strategy of the Terran. Oh, Rhett, he was such a good macro Zerg. It was very fun to watch that. And yeah, ThorZaiN just really unable to get that siege up that he really needed in this position down here. He wasn't able to kill stuff fast enough before Rhett was able to get those Broodlords out. And Rhett had already preemptively expanded around the map at this location and at this location. And Rhett just really very effectively dealt with all the early game harass out of our Terran player. So Rhett takes game 1. We're going into game 2. I've been your casting host, Beef. Thank you very much for watching me. Hope to catch you in game 2.